Backstage with Mothership on Solid Rock Radio begins now. Hear the best in new music, artist interviews, stories from the road, and more. You are now backstage, and here's your host, Mothership.
Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in tonight. This week I'm spotlighting a new artist in the rock community, 21-year-old Jenna Parr from my home state of Georgia. Jenna, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for having me.
Now you're from Georgia.
I am from Blackshear, Georgia.
That's near Waycross, right?
Yes, it is.
We used to live just above Valdosta in Lakeland, Georgia. Do you know where that is?
Oh, I know exactly where that is.
We spent a lot of time at Wild Adventures.
Oh yeah, I've actually sang there. I think in like 2017, I was a junior in high school. I actually got to sing there. I just started out doing music.
They usually, when they have their concert series in the summer, did they have you like as one of the intro guests on the little side stage or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I know exactly what you're talking about. We go there every year to see Skillet. When we lived down there, we started going every year, and that's sort of like our pilgrimage now. We have we go down to Wild Adventures, funny. Go to the water park, hang out with Skillet.
That is so funny. My family, like literally since I was like 7 or 8 years old, we have been going there almost every single year to see them.
We love going down there for that. How long have you been doing music?
To be honest, I don't even remember whenever I started because as far back as I can remember, I mean, I've been doing music. Growing up in church, I was in the children's choir and all the musicals that they had. And so I always wanted a solo. I always wanted to sing as much as I could, was always up there on the stage. And I started taking piano lessons when I was in the 3rd grade and took those until I graduated from high school. I was in the youth praise band there at church and then did that until I graduated. And now on Sunday mornings, I'm still part of the worship team, been doing that for several years. So,
are you part of a musical family?
Both of my parents growing up, they did a little bit of piano, but I have 2 older brothers that are very musical. Both can sing. Both can play multiple instruments. So, yeah, I'd call us a musical family.
Okay.
Pretty fresh into high school, I kind of decided that I wanted to pursue this as a career. Growing up, I feel like a lot of kids, especially ones that like music, all have a dream of, I want to be a singer. I want to travel and sing all over the world. But then a lot of people, I feel like their plans change or they just don't go for it. But I felt pretty strongly. I was like, you know what? I really feel like God is calling me to do this. And luckily, I'm blessed with parents that support me 100% in that. So when I was 15 or 16 years old, the lead singer of We Are a Vessel, Randall Broadhead, he actually lives in the same town as me. My dad knew of him, small town acquaintances. He was just like, hey, I know you're in a Christian rock band. My daughter really wants to get into the music business. So Randall was like, well, just bring her out to the studio. He has a small studio out at his house. And so we went out there and met, and he helped me start writing some music and recording it, and he produced it. So it's been going from there.
He saw something in you, didn't he?
I guess so.
So are you doing this full time now, or is this still kind of on the side? Of course, it's a difficult time to do anything full time in the way of music, but
yeah, I do it full time. I just turned 21. So whenever I graduated from high school, I decided that college just really wasn't for me, which is funny because I was actually salutatorian in my class. So a lot of people were caught very off guard by that. Everybody expects you to go to college, especially if you're second in your class. I just really felt like that wasn't my thing. I really felt like God was calling me into the music industry. So I started pursuing it. And yeah, I'm still pursuing it now and still loving every bit of it.
I'm terrible with naming genres, but what genre would you say your music is?
A hard rock. I try to do some contemporary every now and then. I actually put out an EP back in 2017 before I went rock. And that was just a short 3-song EP that was all contemporary. But then in the past 2 years decided I wanted to transition over to rock because that's my favorite.
What is your draw to rock?
Growing up, my entire family loves rock music. It's all of our favorites. So growing up, that's what I listened to all the time. I have always loved Skillet and Red and 1,000 Foot Crutch and Flyleaf. Growing up, listened to all of those Christian rock bands. I mean, they're definitely some of my biggest influences. Still love listening to them and going and seeing them live. Actually, my favorite kind of rock music is like 80s rock.
Oh.
So don't be surprised for anybody listening if they listen to some of my future stuff. I'm working on my next album right now. We're trying to have some 80s rock flair in there a little bit.
Very nice. I think maybe I'm an anomaly for a person of my age because I love all the new stuff just as much. I would rather listen to the new stuff than the old stuff. Tell me more about God's Got This.
Actually, the first song I ever wrote and recorded. I think I was 15 or 16. First song I worked on after going to meeting with Randall. With that song, the pastor that we used to have at my church here, his wife had cancer. She fought it for a really long time. Her motto was "God's got this." And I feel like it's a pretty popular saying now, but back then I'd never really heard anybody else say it. She had such strong faith and was always so happy and joyful through the entire battle. Just seeing her be that way whenever something as bad as cancer that she was battling. So it just really inspired me to write that song. I love and go tell people that story and tell them that, no matter what you're going through, whether it's cancer or any other problem that you may have or any other situation, that God's got it, that he has it under control and that we don't have anything to worry about.
That's a wonderful message.
Backstage with Mothership returns after this.
Miller Express LLC is a Solid Rock Radio business ministry partner specializing in delivery, setup, and relocation of storage buildings. More info by calling 803-300-7594.
You're listening to Backstage with Mothership on Solid Rock Radio.
Back with our interview with Jenna Parr.
Tell me about some more of the music that you've released.
So the first rock song I recorded was Made for This before the new album came out, because that's the title track. About half a year, I think it was like June or July of 2019. We pushed it to some radio stations. Not all of them picked it up. But yeah, it did decent. So we were just, testing the waters, seeing how that was going to go. At the beginning of this year, in January, we put out the single Break Me along with the full release of the album. And that one did really, really well. Everybody wants their song to do well, but I definitely didn't expect it to go number one on several charts as quick as it did, which I'm very blessed to have that happen. And on ChristianRock.net, I think it stayed number one for 8 weeks. That was very exciting. It got to number 11 on Christian Music Weekly, which is one of the national charts. So that was very, very exciting. And then,
how did that feel to see your song on a chart like that?
It was honestly shocking. Like I said, every artist, they want their song to do super well and get up there in the charts and go number one. And it was honestly unbelievable. I mean, I'm so blessed and happy that happened.
That's great. You just released a new video for the song Those Eyes. What kind of response are you getting from that?
Yes. So we put out the single Those Eyes in, I think, the very end of June. The last week of June, we put that out, and it also did very, very well. Still is doing well. It also was number one on ChristianRock.net for several weeks. It also got up to number 11, I think, on Christian Music Weekly. And then we filmed the music video in August and put that out first or second week of August. And it's gotten great reactions. It's done really, really well. I'm happy with that.
What is the story behind Those Eyes?
I wrote that song about 2 years ago, I think now. And it was late one night. Totally didn't expect to write a song. But I went to read my devotional that I read every night before I go to bed. And this one just really stuck out to me. It was talking about how, as Christians, there's so many people watching us constantly. We're supposed to be different. We're supposed to look different. We're supposed to be the salt and the light. And whether it's Christians or non-Christians, you constantly have people watching you. They want to see how you react to things and what you say and how you carry yourself and your actions. So yeah, that really stuck with me. I got to thinking about how, some people, whenever they're watching you, they may see Jesus in you. We're supposed to be Jesus to others. They may even get saved through it. But then you also have the complete opposite side of that, where, there's people out there that want us to fail and they want us to trip up and they want to bring us down. But, ultimately, we know as Christians that Jesus is right there with us. He's going to pick us right back up, and we know that in the end, he has the victory.
Amen. What is next for you, Jenna?
We are actually preparing for a show in October 17th. I have a show up in Wisconsin. So that's very exciting. It's actually my first full rock set that I'm going to get to do. And then I think November 8th, I have a show in Arkansas as well. Still open for booking. Then I'm about to be working on a Christmas song, probably towards the end of November, beginning of December. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully, I'm going to book a Christmas tour with We Are Vessel. And then, Of course, we're working on new music always.
Well, where can people get in touch with you? We're going to put your socials and your contact information on our blog on solidrockradio.org. Can you just tell us real quick where we can find you and how we can book you?
I have a website, and it's just jennaparr.com. All my socials are linked all on there, so you can find them. I also have merch, so if anybody want any t-shirts, CDs, bracelets, posters, anything, they can find it on there. We just put out some new merch actually to go along with the release of Those Eyes video. You guys should go check that out, or you can just go straight to Facebook. You can search me on there, just Jenna Parr. I also have an Instagram and a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Find me on all of those things.
That's awesome. Now, who do you have touring with you? Do you have a set band, or do you have a touring band, or is Jenna Parr just Jenna Parr? How does that work for you guys?
I guess you could call it a touring band. One of them is actually my brother, and then I got my boyfriend that plays the drums, and then we have a guitar player that's just a good friend of ours. So they just luckily volunteered to travel with us and to help me out, and I'm very, very lucky to have. So I graduated high school 2018. So then in the end of June, I went on tour for the first time for a complete month. Was on the road solid, traveled all over the country, which was super, super exciting. I went with We Are Vessel and then did just some other shorter tours that year with them as well. It definitely took me by surprise a little bit going out, never been on the road before. And then right after graduating high school, going out for a solid month. I think I had like 50 shows that year without ever really having shows before. And then last year, I think I only ended up having maybe like 2 weeks of touring and then a few random shows here and there. I didn't get to have a ton last year, but with working on the new album, that was my main thing I was focused on, was getting this album out this year.
Getting anything done in 2020 is a miracle.
Backstage with Mothership returns after this. Check us out on Facebook at I'm with Mothership.
Miller Express LLC is a Solid Rock Radio business ministry partner specializing in delivery, setup, and relocation of storage buildings. More info by calling 803-300-7594.
Christian music isn't the only thing important in Jenna's life. I hope you enjoy the last part of our call.
I saw something about you being a gym rat. Tell me about that.
Growing up, my parents have always owned gyms. Like ever since I was really, really little, they have owned several different gyms. And even now, they don't own one as of right now, but my mom's a personal trainer. She still works at a gym. Basically, I grew up in the gym and it was my second home and still is kind of my second home. It's always been a big part of my life. So yeah.
So you work out. Do you lift?
I do. It may not look like it, but I do.
Because both of my kids lift. Just wondering if you did some lifting.
Cool.
Do you do any competitions?
I do not.
You do feel good when you work out, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely a stress reliever for me. My parents also, growing up, took me to bodybuilding competitions all the time, and they like to compete in those. My mom did.
That's super cool. Speaking of being healthy, I have a question for you. What is your favorite snack when you're on the road? People are going to be bringing it, so you have to be really careful what you pick.
Well, for starters, I'm like addicted to Coke Zero. That's always a must for me. As far as drinks, well, and water, obviously. I would say, to go along with me being a total gym rat, some protein bars and granola bars, light and decently healthy snacks.
Okay, now we know we can be prepared for your next concert. Hey, speaking of that, I'm hoping to catch you out there pretty soon. I know you just live down the road. I'm afraid it's going to be like Jason Wisdom of Death Therapy. I had to drive all the way to Uprise Festival in Pennsylvania to see him perform. And he lives 20 minutes from my house. It's kind of become a joke with us. Fun stuff.
One of the funniest things to me was, we went up to Pennsylvania just for like a weekend show one time, a festival up there. All the people that lived there kept complaining and apologizing to us for how hot it was outside. And we were just like, man, this is fall weather. Like, this is fantastic.
We're from Georgia.
South Georgia, like, that was nothing up there. And all of them were like dying.
Yeah, South Georgia, it's like Florida without the beach.
Exactly.
Well, that's just the facts. Well, thank you for the interview. It was really nice getting to know you.
Again, thank you. And tell Lee that we all said hello.
All right. Bye-bye, Jenna.
Bye.
That's it for me tonight. Don't forget to check out I'm with Mothership on Facebook and my blog on solidrockradio.org for links to Jenna's socials, music, and websites. Next week, T.D. Benton of White Collar Sideshow will be my guest. Thanks for stopping in. Stay tuned for more great music all night long. This show will be replayed at 4 a.m. Eastern Time and will be added to the Solid Rock Radio website, archive, and SoundCloud soon. I pray y'all all have a wonderful week, and remember to be kind to one another.